there. So there we go. And 3, 2, and 1. Well, Mayor Mike, welcome back to Mayor's Monday here at WSAU, WSAU.com. We are now fully into the swing of 2021. Have you gotten used to writing 21 on the date yet, on all the proclamations and official mayoral documents you have to sign on a daily basis?
I screwed up once so far, so that's not bad, because I still write checks sometimes. But on the documents, it was actually a personal check that I was writing out, and I screwed up the date on it. When 2020 was around, I would put 2020 on all of the documents, because if you just do the last two like everybody else does, 20, well, someone could come along 5 years from now and put 2019 or something along those lines, or 2027. So the date I wrote the whole date out. So I only got caught once so far. Not bad.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all. I mean, yeah, I haven't yet. I'm sure it's going to happen. It'll happen eventually, but we are certainly starting things off here. At one point or another, things have been just as weird as they were in 2020, if not worse, at some times. But so far, we've made it to this point, to where we can almost see spring yet. And of course, we knock on wood as we say that, because we haven't had any overly unmanageable snow emergencies throughout the region. But we are looking forward to streets reconstruction, and you have 4 or 5 projects that are certainly going to be impacting traffic come next year in the city of Stevens Point, or come this summer, I should say.
Absolutely. So every year we plan out our streets projects. We generally do reconstructs as a priority, and reconstructs means we take out the whole street, dig up all the utilities underneath it, because it doesn't make sense to resurface the street and then a water main goes. So we prioritize those based on the utilities underground, as well as the condition of the road. And since I've been in office, we have put an extra emphasis on those street reconstructions, because I personally feel that they've been neglected for a lot of years. Now, the cool thing about winter in Wisconsin is it fixes the potholes, right? Mother Nature fixes the potholes. They get filled in with snow and ice, and you're good till spring. So all the potholes in Stevens Point are currently okay. But we've got some reconstructs next year, and we're doing these in part for stormwater drain as well as water and sewer. So basically what we call the north side, West Street, First Street, Portage, those are all slated to be reconstructed. We've had our public information meetings. That means all of the residents got a notification to come to our virtual meeting, and we'll tell them exactly what's going on, because for some residents, this is a good opportunity to replace the laterals, meaning the house connection to the street. If they're older, this is a great opportunity to do that, because we'll have everything dug up. And it also helps us work out the logistics of where people can park and how the roads are going to be open or closed, depending on what phase of the project we're in. So we've had our first public information meeting. That went well. We are slated, as soon as the frost is out of the ground, maybe even a little bit earlier, with starting the rebuild of those streets.
And you said that there's been an emphasis on this project. You wanted to get these done as soon as possible, get these out there, because you say some of these have been neglected for years. I mean, how much are you talking about here? Is this kind of a typical year, or is this an atypical year where you're being just a little more aggressive?
So I'll give you the whole Reader's Digest story. When I got in, we have what's called a capital budget, and that is for our large things, the things that we own. For you and I on a personal level, it would be our car, our lawnmower, our snow blower, the furnace, water heater, things like that. For the city, it's the big things like streets and pipes and plows and bulldozers and trucks and fire apparatus and police cars. We never really had a full inventory of what we had and the maintenance costs involved in that. So we took an inventory of everything we had and what we spent on maintenance. And we determined that we were woefully underfunded, to the point where we had the ability to replace a street once every 150 years. Clearly, that's not sustainable. So what we did is we got it down to a smaller number, which required a significant investment. Right now, we're probably at about $6.5 million every year on capital expenditures to maintain what we have. And that allowed us, of course, through raising taxes, to get a sustainable, or at least a more sustainable plan in place to redo a street once every 90 years. Now that's sounds like a long time, but it's attainable provided that we do the maintenance. And that maintenance involves resurfacing, chip sealing, things like that on a regular basis to preserve the life of the street. Now, the downside to that is we use what's called a pacer rating to determine on a scale from 1 to 10 the condition of our roads. 10 is brand new. 1 is you might as well turn it into a dirt road because it sucks that bad. Mm-hmm. And we've got a fair amount of our roads in that 5 and 6 range where they should probably be reconstructed or at least resurfaced, but we can't obviously do every road in the city at one time. We've got roughly 300 lane miles of road in the city, and we are prioritizing those. So we're getting a lot more done than we did 7 to 8 years ago, but it's still going to take us a while to get to everything. And the lower priority roads are those that, maybe it's an alleyway or a low traffic count, and you're going to see more potholes, and those roads are going to get in worse condition. But we also try and put an extra emphasis on filling the potholes. The fill that we use really is only going to last a year, if that, because it tends to pop out because it's a patch and it's not an actual fix. So we're trying to patch as much as we can till we have the ability to redo those roads, and we're rebuilding as many roads as we can with the money that we have afforded each year to sustain what we have.
Mm-hmm. And so this batch of roads that you have this year, because I know you kind of map these things out to, we want to get to this in 5 years. We'll maybe get to this one in 6 years. This batch that you have here this year, how bad are some of these roads, or how long have these been on your radar?
Well, as I said, we've got a lot of roads on the radar. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we don't have the resources to do everything, so we have to prioritize. So in this case, what we've done is stormwater is a big concern in this area because it's old pipe. It's a smaller diameter than we would install anywhere today, which causes the storm drains in heavy rain events to back up and flow onto the street, which further damages the streets. So, how potholes get formed, the cracks in the road get filled with water and it washes out underneath, or worse, in winter, water freezes and expands. Mm-hmm. And then when it melts, it drains under and washes things out. So that's how you get potholes, that repeated freezing and thawing cycle. So by putting water onto the streets, water that stays on the streets is going to cause a lot more damage. So this set of roads is more of a priority for the utilities underneath. They are not by any means the worst roads in the city, but they still have that 5 or 6 pacer rating, actually 4 or 5 probably, pacer rating, but they become a higher priority because of the need for the replacement of utilities underneath. It's very complicated, but honestly, if you look at it visually, I'm a visual learner, mm-hmm. you can see the logic behind it. They're not the worst roads in the city, but because of all the things that are involved in the location and the storm drain, they become a higher priority because they will degrade faster and have a more direct impact on the neighborhood if we don't get those utilities underneath it fixed. They will degrade faster. And we still have a couple of other projects that we're doing outside of that zone to try and address the street maintenance issues.
Yeah, and again, this is kind of some of the science that they don't tell you will have to know or deal with when you do win that election for mayor. So it's something that you maybe have to kind of grasp on the fly too, while being able to explain it to your constituents, which of course you just did, because that's what we do here on.
Yeah, and it helps too, really having that 10,000 foot view, because for everyone, myself included, the biggest priority for me is the potholes in front of my house or on the roads that I use frequently. But taking it up to that 10,000 foot level, you can see that, as I said, there's 300 lane miles in the city. And yeah, my road stinks, but this one stinks a lot more. So let's get that one fixed. And most people can agree to that once they see the bigger picture.
Absolutely, and that's what we do here on Mayor's Monday. We also put out some great ideas as well. You and I were just talking a little bit off the air because you've got some fun things we wanted to talk about this month as well. You are going to be commissioning some more artwork for the
We are.
city
So
in the sculpture park. Yeah, tell us about
right.
that.
Stevens Point has the greatest sculpture park in all of central Wisconsin, arguably the state. And every year we put out a call for artists' ideas to add a couple of pieces. You know, we try and mix it up a little bit, I guess, where some pieces stay on for longer than 3 years. Some pieces may only stay on for 3 years, and then we cycle through them. So there's always something new at the sculpture park. We're doing that this year as well. But there's a twist this year. We have one additional call for ideas. And that's because one of our trees, a giant, a very large ash tree, was infested with the emerald ash borer and was going to die. But rather than cut down the tree and destroy it, we topped it off, got rid of the infestation, and now we have a 30-foot trunk that we would love to see someone turn into a piece of art. That may be, you know, wood carving or sculpting. That may be incorporating that into the things that may be an exhibit. You and I came up with some great ideas. My idea was an homage to Elon Musk and SpaceX and making a giant rocket ship out of this 30-foot ash tree. You had something that I think is a little more intriguing. You want to share that?
Yeah, I feel you keeping with the space theme, a UFO. You top it off with a sculpture of an unidentified flying object, have maybe some cows or something at the bottom sculpted, and use the trunk as the beam of the UFO lifting something into space to be studied by those that are coming to study us for one reason or another. I think that's the winning idea right there. I
think it's a great idea.
I can't sculpt it. In the theme of my background, I can hook you up with somebody who sculpted that running Mustang right there.
There you go.
But I can't do it myself.
Yeah.
So
no, and maybe that's what we should do. We should submit our ideas, but then we would have to hire or commission someone to bring our visions to life.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And again, we say this somewhat tongue in cheek, somewhat to get the creative juices flowing. If somebody does know how to do this, or they know somebody, they say, I've got a cousin that's great with artwork like this. How do they get in touch with the city to get in on this and to get their artwork possibly commissioned for this this great public sculpture park?
So you can go to our website at stevenspoint.com and just search for Sculpture Park or Sculpture Park submissions. You can also check it out. I know it's on our social media pages on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I know it's on my personal page as well. But stevenspoint.com is the best way to get to it. If you still have trouble, contact my office or contact our parks director, and we will make sure that you get all the necessary application material. Love to see something really cool come out of this.
And again, this is no idea is a bad idea right now. So anything that you've got, we want to hear.
A giant point Bach bottle. Or maybe, in the irony, you could sculpt it into a series of emerald ash borer beetles. That would be a little weird, but it could work.
Art is what you make it.
Exactly. Isn't that how it goes? Beauty is in the eye of the beer holder.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Finally, before we let you go, speaking of beer, beer and polka go together.
Yep. We
quite
call
often.
it piwa.
Yeah.
In Polish. And Polkas on Ice is going to be happening this Sunday, February 7th, right downtown Stevens Point. As you know, we put in an ice skating rink last year, and we had two young ladies, Lily Perlock and Jessica Caves, sent in a video. They posted a video of themselves on the skating rink doing the chicken dance. So some of us got together. We were commenting on the thing that we should have polkas on ice, being a predominantly Polish town. And it came together as kind of a last minute impromptu thing. Well, it took off. And after last year's event, we got contacts from people who wanted to sponsor it. So this year, we're going to give her Yazda, as they say. And from 11 to 3 on Sunday, February 7th, we'll have Polkas on Ice. Polka music by the Barry Kalnin Orchestra. He's DJing, playing polka music. We have the Market on Strongs has made pierogies. The Rose House is making punchkas. And I'm sure there's going to be hot chocolate, mulled wine from Sunset Point Winery, and just a pretty festive atmosphere for a couple of hours before that little Super Bowl game comes on that the Packers aren't going to be part of.
Whatever that thing is. Yeah.
That's right.
It's something. Yeah. Yeah. And I love the story of this. I love that you've brought it back, because this was, I mean, for me, one of the favorite things that I maybe covered last year. And it all started with a conversation on Facebook. What your theory on Facebook is right now, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I know there's a million different ways to spin that. And of course, it's all solved in the Facebook comments section.
Sure, right. We solve all the world's problems there, right?
Right. Yeah, right down there in the comments section. But yeah, this is a little thing that all of a sudden is ballooning. You're making it bigger this year, and now all of a sudden this is going to be this is going to be something that Stevens Point is known for at one point or another.
Yeah, we're talking about that too. Later this week. We got Punxsutawney Phil. We were talking about maybe having Walleye Walter or Muskie Matt, that we drill a hole in the ice and wait for him to pop his head out to see if he sees his shadow. I think we can get this caught on for next year.
Why not? Again, it's what we do here. Oh, Mike, we always appreciate the time, always appreciate the good cheer as well. And again, we'll look forward to covering some of these things in Stevens Point over the next few weeks and months ahead. And again, we'll look forward to chatting next month.
All right, take her easy, Michael. You have a great weekend, and maybe we'll see you at the Polkas on Ice.
Why not? Yep.